In the evening self-study class of his freshman year, Sumu met a trusted female friend who claimed to have traveled to a different world. I want to ask him to help take care of her daughter on Earth. Also promised to give him a bottle of gene enhancer as a reward. Sumu thought it was a joke and agreed. Then, he saw a bottle of gene enhancer appearing on the desk keywords of the novel. Absurd, there are really travelers. No pop-ups, outrageous, there really are walkers. Download the complete TXT collection, it's outrageous, there are really walkers. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Doubi, Prestige, and Friend. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Doubi, Prestige, and Friend. I'm so regretful about my major in garbage machinery. There are a total of 35 students in our class, only 3 girls, and each one looks worse than the last. Alas, our CNC major is also similar. There are 32 students in our class, 4 girls, and only one is good looking. As a result, we already have a boyfriend. Alright, don't be in the midst of blessings and don't know your blessings. Will our civil engineering suffer? We have 3 classes, 106 people, and only 1 girl. I am so desperate. Late self-study time. At Haicheng University of Finance and Economics, in the last row of the classroom of Class 13, a junior majoring in accounting, Sumu almost didn't laugh when he saw a roast from the prestige group of his high school classmates. When I was filling out my application form a while ago, these guys even laughed at me. What to say, men should choose the majors that men should choose. It's not masculine for a big man to study accounting. Now it's good, they are really masculine, they are almost pure yang. Sumu thought for a moment, edited a message directly, and sent it out. I envy you so much. There are 29 students in our class, but there are only 5 boys. It's too painful. You don't know, with more girls, the whole classroom is full of that fragrant scent, not at all masculine. Knowing this message, they would receive their most affectionate greetings. After Sumu sent it out, he immediately closed the group chat. At this moment, a prestige pop-up window suddenly appeared above the phone screen. Wipe. Did you greet yourself directly through private chat? Don't be so ruthless. Thinking it was a high school classmate in the group chatting about himself, Sumu casually clicked on it. It was discovered that it was a female friend named Bai Qiaoyun. Bai Qiaoyun said, "Little brother, are you from Earth?" Looking at the message sent by Bai Qiaoyun, Sumu couldn't help but feel strange. Who is Bai Qiaoyun? In his impression, he doesn't remember what kind of person he knows as Bai Qiaoyun. Even if it weren't for this message, he wouldn't have known that there was such a person among his friends. Is it another high school classmate who secretly changed their name to play tricks on themselves? Because such a thing had happened before, Sumu immediately clicked on this friend circle called Bai Qiaoyun. Seeing that there was only one horizontal bar in this friend circle called Bai Qiaoyun, he immediately confirmed this speculation. It's not running anymore. Absolutely my high school classmate. I dare not even open my social circle, I'm definitely worried about being noticed by myself. After all, the circle of high school classmates is not large, and as long as you look at the dynamics of your social circle, you can basically determine who they are. Bored or not, people who have already gone to college are still playing such childish tricks. Sumu smiled and shook his head, then turned back. Sumu. If it's a fake exchange, pure-blooded earthlings, why are you not earthlings? Bai Qiaoyun quickly replied. Bai Qiaoyun said, No, I am also an earthling. However, my situation is a bit complicated because more than 2 years ago, I was in a car accident and my soul traveled to another world. However, I still consider myself an earthling. Looking at the message sent by Bai Qiaoyun, Sumu didn't know what to say for a moment. Good guy. Previously, at most, I was pretending to be a female classmate who had a crush on him to play tricks on him. Now, the travelers have all come out. Are you sure you want to play this big? After thinking for a moment, Sumu replied, "Oh, it turns out you are a fellow villager who has crossed our planet. Nice to meet you. Are you doing well now?" She is strong enough to let her be strong, the gentle breeze brushing against the hills. The main focus is on being calm and steady like an old dog. Let's see what tricks you can play. Bai Qiaoyun said, "What?" Bai Qiaoyun said, "Do you just believe me that way?" Looking at Bai Qiaoyun's reply, Sumu immediately smiled. Sure enough. Seeing that the attack did not have the expected effect, she became anxious and disorganized. Sumu smiled and replied, "Believe it, there's nothing I don't believe in. There are all kinds of wonders in the world, and traveling to other worlds is nothing special." Bai Qiaoyun said, yes, you're right. It's not surprising." Bai Qiaoyun said, "I used to have a headache. How can I make you believe me?" "It's easy now." Bai Qiaoyun said, "Little brother, then I'll go straight to the topic. Can you help me?" "Oh. Are you going to see everything so quickly?" Because he wanted to see what his classmate really wanted to do, Sumu readily agreed. "No problem, they are all fellow villagers of the earth, you say." Bai Qiaoyun. Thank you so much." Bai Qiaoyun said, "It's like this. When I was on Earth, I was a single mother with a daughter. When I was in a car accident, my daughter had just entered her sophomore year of high school." Bai Qiaoyun said, "Although I have been traveling here for over 2 years, I still miss her in my heart." Bai Qiaoyun said, "Even every time I think of her at night, I can't sleep all night, worried about whether she's been bullied, whether she's full or not, and whether she's dressed warmly or not." Bai Qiaoyun said, "So, little brother, can you help me find her, help me see how she's doing now?" Bai Qiaoyun said, "We don't have any relatives at home either. If it's convenient, could you please help take care of her, little brother?" Bai Qiaoyun said, "Of course, I won't let you pay for it, little brother. I can give you a reward." Bai Qiaoyun said, "The world I live in is quite special, with many dangers present, and it is also forced by this environment. This world has developed a gene-strengthening drug, which can greatly improve a person's overall physical fitness after taking it, thereby increasing their chances of survival in this world." Bai Qiaoyun said, "You know Marvel's Captain America, it's just like him." Bai Qiaoyun said, "So, if you're willing to help me, little brother, I can give you a bottle of gene enhancement potion as a reward, okay?" Looking at the series of messages sent by Bai Qiaoyun, Sumu was speechless. What typing method is she using here? The typing speed is also too fast. And even gene enhancers have come out. Are you sure you want to add so many elements? Is it okay? Remove the word ma. It's just amazing. If I could really be like Captain America, not to mention helping her take care of her daughter, taking care of her daughter for the rest of her life." Sumu replied, "Auntie, don't say anything. As long as you get the gene enhancer, I will take care of your daughter for the rest of her life." Bai Qiaoyun said, "Are you serious?" Sumu said, "A man must keep his word." Bai Qiaoyun said, Okay, I believe you, I'll send it to you now." Bai Qiaoyun said, "Okay, it has been sent over." Sumu pursed his lips. This reply is a bit deceptive. How do people handle this? Just as Sumu was pondering how to respond, he suddenly caught a glimpse of him, as if he had seen a ghost, and his eyes widened in fear. Lying trough. What is this thing? End of this chapter. Chapter 2. What a walker. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. What a walker. Looking at his right side, there was a glass bottle in the shape of a test tube, which was also filled with some dark green liquid. Sumu was stunned. How could there be such a thing? He is very certain that there was nothing in this position just now. But with just that little effort, such a thing came out. Is it Li Yaqing and Wang Ruoruo from the front row who placed it? Because there are only 29 people in the class, which is odd, and unfortunately, the person who was singled out happens to be him. In addition, his seat is located in the corner of the right wall in the last row of the classroom. That is to say, there are no classmates on either side of him. So, if this bottle was placed by a classmate, it could only be Li Yaqing and Wang Ruoruo in the front row. But it shouldn't be. If it were the two of them who let it go, they wouldn't have noticed such a big movement when they turned around. But if it weren't for the two of them, who would have let it go? You know, his right side is a wall. Is it placed on the wall? After thinking for a while, Sumu didn't come up with a reason. Finally, with great courage, he carefully picked it up. The material of the bottle body seems to be glass, while the dark green liquid inside seems to have added fluorescent agent, with a faint green light flashing. Do you still have labels? Seeing a label still attached to the back of the bottle, Sumu quickly turned around. Genetic enhancers. Oral administration can significantly improve a person's overall physical fitness. After reading the brief introduction on the label, in an instant, Sumu felt like he had been struck by lightning, and even his brain was almost blank. Gene enhancers. Isn't this what Bai Qiaoyun just said he wants to give himself? No way. Is it? She did it. Is everything she says true? Is she really a traveler? Although Sumu also knew that his idea was crazy, there seemed to be no other explanation besides this one. Because he had never seen this so-called gene enhancer before, and it was indeed after Bai Qiaoyun finished speaking that it mysteriously appeared on his desk. Thinking of this, Sumu gulped down a mouthful of saliva before quickly looking back at the phone in his hand. Coincidentally, Bai Qiaoyun sent 2 more messages. Bai Qiaoyun said, "Little brother, haven't you received it?" Bai Qiaoyun said, "It's a small bottle in the shape of a test tube, and the liquid inside is dark green. It should be easy to detect." A small bottle in the shape of a test tube, dark green liquid. Staring blankly at the 2 new messages sent by Bai Qiaoyun, Sumu already had this speculation in his heart. At this moment, his hair still stood uncontrollably on end. Nima. Surprisingly, she did it. Swallowing a gulp of saliva again, just as Sumu didn't know how to reply, suddenly, a ringing bell rang for the end of class. Upon seeing this, Sumu put the bottle of gene enhancer into his pocket and hurriedly left the classroom. More than 10 minutes later. Near Haicheng University of Finance and Economics, Sumu opened the door and walked into an old rental house in a residential area. Unlike other classmates, Sumu grew up without parents and grew up with his grandfather. However, just a year ago, his grandfather also passed away and did not leave him any legacy. So, in order to earn his living expenses and tuition fees, he has been taking time to do odd jobs. For example, helping in some barbecue shops and other places. However, these places usually work very late, and by the end of the day, the school dormitories have long closed. He had no choice but to rent a house outside of school. When the door was locked, Sumu quickly opened his phone. Bai Qiaoyun has already sent 3 more messages. Bai Qiaoyun said, "Little brother, why aren't you talking?" Bai Qiaoyun said, "Little brother, are you busy?" Bai Qiaoyun said, "Little brother." Looking at the 3 messages sent by Bai Qiaoyun, Sumu took a deep breath and calmed down his somewhat excited and nervous mood before finally replying. Sumu. Here it is. Sumu said, "I'm sorry, Auntie. I just got home from school for evening self-study. Sumu. Also, I have received the gene enhancer medication." Bai Qiaoyun quickly replied. Bai Qiaoyun said, "Ah, you are still in school." Sumu didn't hide it either. "Yes, I just started my freshman year this year." Bai Qiaoyun said, "Really, that's great. If my daughter is still in school, she should also be in her freshman year this year. You happen to be peers." Time flies by, and in the blink of an eye, it's 11:30 p.m. at night. After more than 2 hours of communication, Sumu roughly understood the situation on Bai Qiaoyun's side. More than 2 years ago, she was hit and killed by a runaway truck while shopping, and her soul pierced into a world about the size of Earth. However, unlike Earth, that world experienced a zombie virus outbreak, giving birth to many powerful and strange creatures. When humans were about to go extinct, gene enhancers were developed. Gene-enhancing drugs not only resist zombie viruses, but also greatly enhance a person's physical fitness, giving them a strong body. It is precisely the emergence of gene enhancers that gave humanity in that world hope for survival. And Bai Qiaoyun, although she has traveled over the past 2 years, her soul ultimately comes from Earth. Especially on Earth, there is a precious daughter she brought up from a young age. So, every night, she would think of her daughter who was far away on Earth, almost to the point of missing her sick. However, today, just as she was missing her daughter again, as if she had acquired some kind of superpower, she unexpectedly managed to connect with Sumu, who was on Earth. Then, there were those conversations from before. Bai Qiaoyun sent another message. Bai Qiaoyun said, "By the way, Xiaosu, Auntie forgot to tell you. My daughter's name is Bai Xiaoqian, and I know her name. I think I can provide some help for you to find her." Through these 2 hours of communication, the two of them have become less unfamiliar. So, when it comes to Sumu, Bai Qiaoyun has long changed from a little brother to a little Su. Bai Xiaoqian. Sumu furrowed his brow slightly. This name seems to have been heard somewhere before, it's a bit familiar. Without much thought, Sumu immediately went back and said, "Okay Bai, I understand. You should rest quickly. I will find her as soon as possible, understand her current situation, and take photos for you to see." Bai Qiaoyun said, Okay. You should also rest quickly. It's getting late, so Auntie won't disturb you anymore." After finishing the conversation with Bai Qiaoyun, Sumu turned his head to look at the gene-strengthening potion on the side. According to Bai Qiaoyun's description, this is definitely a good thing. Even a person who doesn't have the power to support a chicken on weekdays can transform into a fierce man who punches a cow with just one punch after taking it. And, most importantly, there are no side effects. However, Sumu was not in a hurry to take it. Because these are all the words of Bai Qiaoyun's family. What if there is a zombie virus inside? End of this chapter. Chapter 3. The left daughter is the school flower. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. The left daughter is the school flower. As the saying goes, one must have a heart to harm others and a heart to prevent others. Although Sumu believed in the identity of Bai Qiaoyun as a traveler, it did not mean that he believed every word she said. After all, Bai Qiaoyun is just a special netizen who has been chatting for just over 2 hours, and it is impossible to determine what kind of person she is. What if she is a lunatic with an antisocial personality? The promised gene enhancer turned out to be a zombie virus. I promised to become a strong man, but ended up becoming a zombie. Even worse, all humans on Earth may go extinct due to this bottle of medicine. So, until it is determined whether Bai Qiaoyun is reliable or not, Sumu will not take this so-called gene enhancer. Thinking of this, Sumu opened his mobile phone Penguin and found a group friend named Lonely Wanderer in a Penguin group, and clicked on his private chat. Sumu is not sure who the Lonely Wanderer is, but he knows that he is very skilled and can obtain some privacy that ordinary people cannot access. For example, opening a room record. People often come to him in the group to investigate his partner's room opening records. Of course, there will be a fee. Sumu sent a message. "Boss, have you slept yet? Can you help me check something?" Soon, the Lonely Wanderer returned. "On duty in the bureau, what do you want to investigate?" "In the bureau." "Shoo, got it. No wonder this guy can find information such as room opening records. It turns out he's from the bureau." Sumu quickly edited and sent it over. "I want to know about this household, how many people there were before, how many people there are now, and where they are now. The address of this household is XXX, Unit X, Building X, Kanghua Community, Hshui County, Sanjiang City. The lonely wanderer returned a neat number. 500. Sumu's mouth twitched fiercely. It's really dark. 500 yuan is almost my monthly living expenses. However, he eventually gritted his teeth and turned around. Not long after, the lonely wanderer sent the investigation results. This household used to have only 2 people, a single mother with a daughter named Bai Qiaoyun. The daughter took her mother's surname and was named Bai Xiaoqian. 2 years and 3 months ago, Bai Qiaoyun passed away in an accident, leaving only her daughter named Bai Xiaoqian. Bai Xiaoqian is currently studying accounting at Haicheng University of Finance and Economics in Haicheng, class 16 of her freshman year. Additionally, I would like to send you a message that the truck driver who killed Bai Qiaoyun in the past is still at large and has not been arrested yet. Looking at the investigation results sent by the lonely wanderer, Sumu's eyes widened. Haicheng University of Finance and Economics, majoring in accounting, class 16, freshman year. Isn't this the class next door to my own? Is it her? In Sumu's mind, a girl with a hot figure and a stunning appearance suddenly appeared. Among the freshmen at Haicheng University of Finance and Economics this year, a female student, with an advantage in both body shape and appearance, directly took the second place over the third year's second consecutive school flower. And this person is Bai Xiaoqian, who shares the same accounting major as him but is in class 16 of his freshman year. No wonder I feel familiar with this name, I didn't expect it to be her. Sumu never expected that Bai Qiaoyun's daughter, who was left behind on Earth, would be the same school, level, major as herself, and the new school flower of Haicheng University of Finance and Economics. This is too coincidental. Upon regaining his senses, Sumu immediately opened the forum of Zhonghai University of Finance and Economics. As the new campus flower of Sinuk University of Finance and Economics, Bai Xiaoqian's photo is simply not easy to find, there are not even 1,000 or 800 in the forum. Quickly, Sumu downloaded several campus photos of her that were secretly taken from the Tieba, the ones with a slightly straight face, and sent them to Bai Qiaoyun. The conversation that had already ended suddenly went crazy with these few photos of Sumu. Bai Qiaoyun said, "That's right, it's her, it's her." Bai Qiaoyun said, "My baby, woo-woo." "Xiaosu, thank you so much, auntie." Bai Qiaoyun said, "Is she doing well now?" Bai Qiaoyun said, "Has she dropped out of school now or is she continuing her studies?" Bai Qiaoyun said, "Has she ever had a boyfriend or been bullied?" Looking at the series of messages sent by Bai Qiaoyun, although Sumu couldn't see her, he could feel through the lines that she was really excited at this moment, and maybe even tears were streaming down her face. Even at this moment, Sumu felt that he had no need to question the authenticity of that bottle of gene-strengthening medicine. Such strong maternal love is definitely not fake. Even if it was just to protect Bai Xiaoqian, Bai Qiaoyun could not have dropped the zombie virus on Earth. Finally, after Bai Qiaoyun sent over 30 messages in a row and gradually calmed down, Sumu replied. "Aunt Bai, don't be so excited for now. I will introduce Xiaoqian's situation to you." Bai Qiaoyun said, all right, auntie, don't get excited at all. Take your time, Xiaosu." Quickly, Sumu used some concise words to tell her about Bai Xiaoqian's general situation. And upon hearing that his daughter was in the same school, major, and even class as Sumu, Bai Qiaoyun was extremely happy. As for titles like school flowers, she doesn't care at all. After all, from a mother's perspective, it doesn't matter whether her daughter is the school belle or not. As long as she is healthy and safe, it's enough. Bai Qiaoyun said, "Xiaosu, did you promise auntie before that you would help her take care of Xiaoqian? You can't just keep your word, can you?" The muscles on Sumu's face twitched. Previously, he thought Bai Qiaoyun was a classmate who came to play tricks on him, so he casually said that, but who would have thought forget it. All the genetic reinforcement drugs have been collected, can't we just put on our pants and refuse to accept them? Although Sumu said, "And Bai, don't worry, I will definitely keep my word." Bai Qiaoyun said, "Okay, good child, Auntie believes in you." Bai Qiaoyun said, "Besides, Xiaosu, Auntie just remembered something." Bai Qiaoyun said, "A few years ago, Auntie bought 3 100G gold bars and hid them. She planned to use them as a dowry for Xiao Qian when she got married, but unfortunately, it's not as good as fate." Bai Qiaoyun said, "I estimate that Xiao Qian doesn't even know about the existence of these 3 gold bars now, so please help Auntie convey it to her, so that these 3 gold bars won't end up giving someone a discount." Bai Qiaoyun said, "Coincidentally, she is currently in college and there must be a lot of money to spend. These 3 gold bars can also alleviate the financial pressure on her body." Bai Qiaoyun said, "Also, if Xiaosu needs it, you can take one and use it. Leave 2 for her to spend enough." End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Gene Enhancement and Rebirth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Gene Enhancement and Rebirth. Looking at the message sent by Bai Qiaoyun, Sumu suddenly felt a warmth in his heart. It can be felt that Bai Qiaoyun is not being polite, but really treating him as a junior and caring for him. However, he cannot take this money. Although he may not have enough money, he has already taken a bottle of Gene Enhancer. If he were to take another gold bar, it would be a bit insatiable. Moreover, these 3 gold bars were originally intended to be used as a dowry for Bai Xiaoqian. After Bai Qiaoyun passed away, Bai Xiaoqian, a lonely girl, was already quite miserable. If she even took her money, would she still be shameless? Sumu said, "Aunt Bai, thank you for your kindness. However, I don't have much use for money here. Let's give all 3 gold bars to Xiao Qian." Next, Sumu chatted with Bai Qiaoyun for a while. It wasn't until midnight that the conversation between the two ended for the second time. Looking at the Gene Enhancer on the side again, Sumu didn't hesitate and reached out to take it. Through this exchange, he has determined that Bai Qiaoyun is definitely a competent and good mother. Her words are worth believing. So, when the cork was opened, Sumu looked up and poured it down. The taste is quite good. Although the color of this Gene Enhancer is quite unsightly, there is a faint fragrance upon entry. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. Suddenly, Sumu drank this bottle of Gene Enhancement liquid for about 10 seconds and felt it appear. A warm stream of heat surged from his lower abdomen and quickly surged towards his limbs, quickly enveloping him. Surrounded by this warm current, Sumu felt his body, like a dry land being moistened by rainwater. From bones, to fascia, to organs, to muscles, to skin, everything was quickly filled with vitality and energy. Along with it, there is also a strong sense of drowsiness. This is a normal phenomenon. Bai Qiaoyun once said that taking gene-enhancing drugs will lead to a period of deep sleep. So, upon realizing the drowsiness, Sumu did not resist, but obediently lay in bed. Quickly, in less than a minute, he fell into a deep sleep. I don't know how long it has been. It seems like it's just a moment, but it also seems like a century is so long. Sumu slowly opened his eyes. So comfortable. I have never slept so comfortably before. He now feels his spirit is unprecedentedly full, and even has endless power throughout his body. Seeing that it had turned white outside the window, Sumu realized that it was already 7 o'clock in the morning. Then, as if thinking of something, he jumped off the bed and ran barefoot into the bathroom. Soon. In front of the floor mirror in the washroom, Sumu stared blankly at his naked self inside, almost unable to recognize it. Is this still oneself? 8 knife-like abdominal muscles arranged perfectly symmetrical in pairs. The broad shoulders, bulging chest muscles, shark muscles, mermaid lines, and so on all perfectly stand out at this moment. The whole person, as if carved out, has sharp edges and shapes, full of the beauty of masculinity symbolizing masculinity. Moreover, coupled with his net height of 1.85 meters, there is also a pleasing streamline beauty. It's like a leopard. It has both powerful explosive power and fluidity like flowing clouds and water. Moreover, not only has there been an astonishing change in body shape, but also some subtle changes in appearance. The lines on the face have become clearer, the eyes have become more lively, the chin is clear, the Adam's apple is obvious, and the whole person appears more firm. Even at first glance, it gives people a feeling of being full of energy, with a burst of male hormones. Staring blankly at himself in the mirror, Sumu finally chuckled foolishly after more than 10 seconds. I'll go. This is also amazing. What kind of gene enhancement is this? It's clearly a rebirth. Just as Sumu was about to continue appreciating, suddenly, the sound of his phone shaking entered his ears. Sumu returned to the bedroom and picked up his phone. 2 messages were sent by Xiaoyun. Xiao Su, there's something wrong with Auntie. We just discovered a level 7 zombie monster, and we need to get rid of it quickly. Otherwise, once it reaches level 8, many people will have to die before we can get rid of it. Just leave me a message if you have anything to do. I may not reply in a timely manner. I will contact you after removing this level 7 zombie monster. Looking at the 2 messages sent by Xiaoyun, Sumu suddenly felt a little touched. Although the world she lived in was filled with the danger of dying at any moment, what she was worried about was her daughter who was far away on Earth, whether she had enough to eat, whether she was warm to wear, and whether she had been bullied. Perhaps this is maternal love. Thinking of this, Sumu went back very seriously. Good Aunt Bai, you must pay attention to safety. I have planned that on the day Xiao Qian gets married, I will take photos and videos of the entire process so that you can see her in a different world. She is wearing a pure white wedding dress and is entering the hall of happy marriage. After sending this message, Sumu immediately began to think. After all, the 2 of them are not in the same world now, and he can't help much. The only thing he can do now is to help her take care of Bai Xiaoqian, so that she has no worries when fighting against zombies. Just this matter, it's not that simple. Firstly, Bai Xiaoqian is not an ordinary girl. If Bai Xiaoqian is an ordinary girl, Sumu can become friends with her through some contact. This way, when she is in difficulty and needs, he can help and take care of her. But she is the flower of Haicheng University of Finance and Economics. The entire Haicheng University of Finance and Economics is currently being pursued by countless people. If he comes over at this moment and acts very proactive and enthusiastic, his friends may not be able to become friends, but he will definitely be treated as a licking dog. He didn't think that Bai Xiaoqian would tell a licking dog when she encountered difficulties or trouble. Also, those 3 gold bars. How do you tell her? She didn't even know about the 3 gold bars hidden by her deceased mother at home, but Sumu actually knew. Is this reasonable? Are you sure she won't call the police? Write an anonymous note and secretly tell her. Not very suitable either. A mysterious person actually knows that there are 3 gold bars hidden in her house that she doesn't even know about. She's just a girl, and she's so scared that she dares to go home in the future. How about confessing to her and telling her that her mother hasn't died yet, and her soul has traveled to a different world? But doing so would be irresponsible to oneself. As the saying goes, there is no wall that is not ventilated in the world. What if the news spreads widely and one day I am taken by a mysterious organization to study? After thinking for a while, Sumu couldn't come up with a good solution, so he decided not to think about it. Forget it. After Bai Xiaoyun finishes fighting the monster, discuss with her. After all, Bai Xiaoqian is her daughter, and she, as a mother, should have a way to deal with her own daughter. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Beauty, Great Figure, and 3 Virtues. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Beauty, Great Figure, and 3 virtues after more than half an hour. Sumu walked into the classroom as usual. As soon as he arrived at his seat and sat down, Wang Ruoro in the front row turned his head. "Hey, Sumu, let me ask you a question," you say. Suddenly, before Wang Ruoro could finish speaking, he came to a stop. Staring straight at Sumu's face for 2 seconds, he was surprised and said, "Ah, Sumu, you're so handsome today." In fact, Sumu's appearance has not changed much. However, for some reason, Wang Ruoro felt that Sumu was even more handsome today than before, but she couldn't pinpoint where he was. "It's a feeling. I feel like he's so manly today, so manly." Upon hearing this, Li Yaqing, who was sitting at her desk, also turned around to look at her. "Oh, really?" Li Yaqing said with a surprised expression, "Sumu, you are really handsome today." Of course, Sumu knew he was very handsome today, but he couldn't admit it. "What do you mean, the two of you?" Sumu smiled, "It seems like I wasn't handsome before." "No," Li Yaqing said, "I used to be handsome, but today I'm particularly handsome." "That's right." Wang Ruoro agreed, "I'm particularly handsome today." Looking at the serious appearance of the two, Sumu seemed to have thought of something and squinted his eyes. "No, you two are a bit abnormal today. Praising me so much, are you two trying to flirt with me?" Sure enough. The topic of being particularly handsome today was successfully transferred by Sumu. Li Yaqing looked silently at Wang Ruoro and said, "Pu Xian Nan, you really look down." Wang Ruoro nodded and then both of them chuckled at the same time. Seeing this, Sumu also smiled and said, "All right, okay. If you don't want to soak me, don't lick me. What's going on?" "If her father's birthday is coming up soon," Li Yaqing said, "she wants to give him a birthday gift, but she doesn't know what to give, so she wants to consult with you. What do you guys usually like?" "Oh. This question." Sumu looked at Wang Ruoro and said, "If you're giving your dad a gift, then practicality should be the priority. How is your dad doing?" "It's okay, anyway, people in their 40s are definitely not as good as when they were young." "Do you smoke?" "Draw, but not too much." "Then you can choose one of the 3 options. Belt, lighter, and razor. If your dad's waist is not very good, give him a wider belt to protect his waist. If your dad smokes, you can also give him a good lighter. There's no need to explain the razor, men all need it." Wang Ruo thought for a moment and smiled brightly, "I understand, thank you." "You're welcome, just right. I also have a question for you." If Sumu remembers correctly, Wang Ruoro and Bai Xiaoqian know each other, both of whom are members of the school yoga club and often participate in yoga activities organized by the club together. Coincidentally, get to know Bai Xiaoqian from her. After all, Bai Xiaoyun has been away for over 2 years. The obedient girl in her mouth may have become a little girl long ago. Smoking, drinking, fighting, promiscuity, abortion. Only by understanding her situation can Sumu know what he will do next. "What problem?" Wang Ruoro said. "That's right." Sumu thought for a moment, "Do you know Bai Xiaoqian from class 6? Wang Ruoro was momentarily stunned, and his expression immediately became more exciting. And Li Yaqing, who had already turned around, also turned back upon hearing this question. "Isn't it Sumu?" Li Yaqing said with a gossiping expression, "Do you also want to pursue Bai Xiaoqian? Why don't you change? There are too many people chasing her." "Yeah," Wang Ruoro said, "and there are also quite a few wealthy second-generation people. If you want to pursue her, the competition is extremely fierce. It's better to change to a girl." "That's right," Li Yaqing said. "Besides, do you have a sense of responsibility? There are 29 people in class 3, and only 5 boys in your class. The girls in your own class haven't sold yet. You went to class 6 to help them sell. This is a traitor's behavior." "Yes, traitor. Wang Ruoro also followed suit and accused, "What's the difference between my desk mate Yaching? She needs to have a chest and a buttocks, and her face is not bad. Can't you bully her? You're a man from class 3, and the girls in your own class haven't been bullied yet. How can you bully girls from other classes? Your thoughts are not correct." Li Yaching chuckled and hit Wang Ruoro, then counterattacked, "Yeah, my Ruoro is not bad either. He has big long legs and a small waist, and the important thing is that he can easily collapse with just a push. He's right in front of you. If you insist on soaking in the most difficult part of class 6, you comrade, you obviously have a problem with your thinking." Sumu asked a question, and as a result, he felt like he had become a traitor who colluded with the enemy and betrayed the country. "Stop and stop." Sumu quickly stopped the two of them, feeling that if they continued to speak, he would be executed by firing squad. "I'm talking about two older sisters, can you calm down? I just want to know more about Bai Xiaoqian, so she shouldn't have committed such a big crime." Wang Ruoro and Li Yaching both smiled at the same time. Wang Ruoro said seriously, "How do you want to get to know her? To be honest, if you want to talk about a girlfriend, don't chase her. There's no hope, you just need to find one from our class. Out of 24 girls, only 3 have partners, and 21 are single. How come it's not enough for you to choose?" Sumu quickly waved his hand and said, "No, I didn't want to pursue Bai Xiaoqian. I'm just curious and want to know what kind of person she is as a school flower. Also, what did you mean earlier? Did you look down on me? What does it mean that I have no hope? In your eyes, Su is just that bad." Wang Ruoro chuckled and said, "I didn't mean that. It was Bai Xiaoqian who said it herself. She won't be dating in college, it's useless for anyone to pursue her." "Oh. That's it. How is she like that person?" Sumu said. "There must be no problem with people. They are beautiful, have a great figure, and have a positive outlook. You know our school's finance major, and there are many wealthy second-generation families in the finance major who drive supercars when they go to school. Some even give her a bank card with a monthly limit of several 100,000 yuan, so she can spend whatever she wants. Don't do it. Moreover, she actually doesn't have much money. Her family situation is quite miserable. She has a single-parent family and has no father since childhood. In her sophomore year, her mother passed away in a car accident. If it were someone else, she wouldn't be able to resist this temptation. So her life is quite tight." Sumu said. "Not bad," Wang Ruoro said. "She has a part-time job as a coach at a women's yoga club outside of school. She teaches 3 yoga classes a week and can earn 1,800 yuan a month. Her daily expenses are not a problem." After listening to Wang Ruoro's description, Sumu nodded. At the same time, I also breathed a sigh of relief in my heart. The situation is better than I expected. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Human Beauties. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Human Beauties. To be honest, before understanding what kind of person Bai Xiaoqian was, Sumu did not have too high expectations for her. After all, a girl, especially one with a high appearance and figure like her, will indeed encounter more temptations and traps than ordinary people after losing her only family member, leading her astray. Even he was prepared for long-term combat, pulling Bai Xiaoqian out of the quagmire. As a result, I overthought it. Bai Xiaoqian has not contracted any bad habits, and her values are still very positive. Moreover, she has a stable part-time job and is completely self-reliant. I have to admit, she is indeed a good girl, and it's not surprising that so many boys are chasing her. Just as Sumu was about to continue his inquiry, suddenly the bell for class rang. Then, the 3 of them hurriedly ended the conversation. In a blink of an eye, it was the last self-study class in the afternoon. In the classroom, Sumu looked absent-mindedly at the phone in his hand. Since he sent the message to Bai Qiaoyun in the morning, Bai Qiaoyun has not replied to a single message until now. This made him unable to help but worry whether Bai Qiaoyun had an accident in the battle with the zombie monster. It has been almost 9 hours since morning until now. Is a level 7 zombie monster so difficult to kill? Suddenly, just as Sumu finished muttering, Bai Qiaoyun sent a message. Bai Qiaoyun said, "Okay, okay. It's a deal. If we could see Xiaoqian get married and have children, Auntie would be content even if she died in this lifetime." Coming back. Sumu calmed down and quickly returned to the past. "Aunt Bai, everything is going smoothly, aren't you injured?" Bai Qiaoyun said, "No, Auntie is pretty good. It's just that there was a small accident during the operation, which delayed some time. Everything went smoothly. As long as everything goes smoothly." Sumu breathed a sigh of relief and then told her about Bai Xiaoqian's situation that he had learned from Wang Ruoro today. At the same time, she also told her about the situation where she didn't know how to proceed. Bai Qiaoyun received the message and remained silent for several minutes before replying. "Indeed, Auntie's thinking is a bit simplistic. It's not easy for you to get close to Xiaoqian on your end." Sumu replied, "Yes, it's impossible to explain just about those 3 gold bars. She, as a daughter, doesn't even know, but I, as an outsider, do. It's unreasonable." Bai Qiaoyun said, "Yes, what's bothering us now is that we can't find a reasonable excuse." Just as Sumu and Bai Qiaoyun were feeling a bit helpless across the screen, suddenly, Bai Qiaoyun sent another message. Bai Qiaoyun said, "By the way, Xiaosu, Auntie has come up with a solution. I think it can be used." Sumu. "Is that right, Aunt Bai? What's the solution?" Bai Qiaoyun. "To dream." Bai Qiaoyun said, "Just say, I told you everything in your dream, so there's no need for anything reasonable or unreasonable." Bai Qiaoyun said, "Besides, if I tell you some things and secrets that only Xiaoqian and I know, she can only trust you." After reading it, Sumu gave a thumbs up. Sure enough. Jiang is old and spicy. You are truly a mother. When it comes to holding your own daughter, you have a way. Sumu said, "To be broad is to be broad. Aunt Bai, your method is good. I think it will work." Bai Qiaoyun said, "Well, that's settled. Let me tell you some secrets about Xiaoqian first. She, follow me, is also a Bai Tage. Sumu. Good guy, can this also be told to oneself?" More than 10 minutes later. Sumu collected enough secrets from Bai Qiaoyun that only their mother and daughter knew. Next, let's see how he operates. Sumu said, "Aunt Bai, the rest is up to me. Please wait for good news from me." After ending the conversation with Bai Qiaoyun, Sumu poked Wang Ruoro in the front row. Wang Ruoro turned around and whispered, "What's wrong?" Sumu smiled brightly and whispered, "If so, could you help me schedule a meeting with Bai Xiaoqian? I have something I want to talk to her alone about." Wang Ruoro blinked innocently and said, "Isn't that right, Sumu? Do you really want to pursue her?" Li Yaqing also turned around and said, "Hey, Sumu, you really plan to become a traitor in Class 3. There are 21 girls in our class who are still single." "Go ahead," Sumu said. "When did I say I wanted to pursue her? I have something serious to do, really." "What's the right thing?" Wang Ruoro said curiously. "I can't say, I can only tell Bai Xiaoqian to be alone. Can you help me schedule her?" "Well," Wang Ruoro murmured for a moment, "I can help you ask, but if she doesn't make an appointment with you, I can't guarantee it." "Sure, could you help me ask?" Wang Ruoro turned around and picked up his phone to initiate a message. Quickly, in just 4 or 5 minutes, Wang Ruoro turned back. Their class is currently having physical education classes outside. She said she needs to go to the library to search for information after school. If you really have something to do, you can go to the easternmost part of the third floor of the library to find her. Okay, Sumu said, then tell her, that's settled. I'll go to the library to find her after school. 5 o'clock in the afternoon. As the school bell rang, Sumu stood up and left the classroom. Because the library is quite far from the accounting teaching building, it was already 10 minutes later when Sumu came over. Entering the library with his student ID, Sumu went straight to the third floor and headed towards the easternmost side. Finally, when he arrived at the easternmost side of the third floor, the last bookshelf, a beautiful figure appeared in his sight. A net height of 170 centimeters, with long black hair. The slender eyebrows like willow leaves, agile big eyes, tall nose bridges, plump red lips, paired with a delicate oval face, perfectly interpret the beauty of Eastern women. My figure is even more explosive. Although it looks so slim, it looks at least D+. Ying small waist and a pair of long legs outlined by tight jeans, both long and straight. From the side, it looks like a perfect curve. Perhaps because she had just finished her physical education class, Bai Xiaoqian's cheeks on both sides still had a hint of crimson, making them even more tempting. Even if asked to evaluate by Sumu, he could only think of 4 words. Human beauty. Bai Xiaoqian also saw Sumu and smiled brightly. Hi, you're Sumu from class 3, right? I've seen you a few times. There are a total of 6 classes in the accounting major, and the number of boys in each class is about 30. In addition, with Sumu's net height of 1.85 meters, wearing shoes would still cost around 1.88 meters, which is quite eye-catching among these 30 people. So, even if Bai Xiaoqian has an impression of him, he doesn't find it strange. We have already signed the contract, please rest assured to support us. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Your Mom's Dream. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Your Mom's Dream. Faced with Bai Xiaoqian's brilliant smile, Sumu also gave a very sunny smile. Yes, it's me, that one. I didn't disturb you reading, did I? No, Bai Xiaoqian smiled sweetly. I just casually read. I haven't figured out what book to read yet. Let's go sit down and chat over there. Okay. On the east side of the third floor of the library, there are only a few geography books because the audience is not large. Sumu and Bai Xiaoqian chose a quiet seat to sit opposite each other. Bai Xiaoqian said, when I was in physical education class just now, if you sent me a message saying you had something to ask me for, and didn't tell her what it was, she would let me listen and tell her what it was. Sumu smiled. It seems that your relationship with Roa is quite good. It's really good, Bai Xiaoqian nodded and admitted. We both belong to a yoga club and often do yoga together. Moreover, our dormitory is quite close and we often visit to play. That's it. Sumu nodded with a smile and thought for a moment before saying, although your relationship with Roa is quite good, it's best not to tell her what I'm going to tell you next, because it's a bit unbelievable and not everyone can accept it. It has to be said that curiosity is truly human nature. After listening to Sumu's words, Bai Xiaoqian was noticeably more energetic than before. The thirst for knowledge is very strong. Really? Bai Xiaoqian asked curiously, what's going on? Sumu cautiously looked around and pointed his right index finger upwards while lowering his voice, saying, do you believe in that kind of thing in the world? Looking at Sumu's gestures, as well as his tone and appearance at the moment, Bai Xiaoqian immediately guessed what he was saying. She opened her beautiful eyes wide open, with an incredulous expression on her face. She also suppressed her voice very low, as if that thing was right beside them. Did you encounter that thing? Sumu nodded and said, I think we have encountered it. Bai Xiaoqian took a deep breath and felt that the temperature around her had dropped several degrees. Well, it's useless for you to come to me. I don't know how to deal with it. You should go to the temple or Taoist temple. Sumu shook his head and said, I didn't mean that. I know you don't know, but the person who came to find me is related to you. Ah. Bai Xiaoqian's expression froze and she was stunned. And, is it related to me? That's right, Sumu said. These past few nights, she has been appearing in my dreams. At first, I thought it was just a dream, but after doing so for several consecutive days, I realized something was wrong. So, I came to you today to verify something from you, to see if I was dreaming or really encountering that thing. Bai Xiaoqian stared blankly at Sumu and nodded. How to verify? Sumu sorted his thoughts and said, Is your mother named Bai Xiaoyun? She was born on October 6, 1984. Bai Xiaoqian's expression, which was originally somewhat stunned, changed greatly in this moment. She covered her mouth with a small hand and dared not speak. My mom. You met my mom. All the doubts were instantly resolved. She was originally wondering who it was and how Sumu would come to her for verification. As a result, it turned out to be her mother who had passed away for over 2 years. I'm not sure, Sumu made an innocent gesture. When she was in my dream, she did say it was your mother, but as for whether it was real or fake, I haven't seen your mother before, so I came to you for verification. Bai Xiaoqian quickly nodded and urged, Keep talking, what else did she tell you? Just, Sumu murmured, she said you're quite similar to her. There's one thing, nothing. Alright, I know what you mean. Yes, my mother, who I inherited, is there anything else? There is a red birthmark the size of a mung bean, which is also inherited from your mother. It's on the inner side of the thigh root, right? Yes, what else? When you were 7 years old, you raised a kitten and accidentally stepped on it to death. Later, you and your mother buried it, and you even made a grave for it. Every time after school, you would light an incense stick and stick it until your mother beat you up. When you were 9 years old, when you were in the first year of junior high school. When you were in the 3rd year of junior high school. As Sumu recounted what Bai Xiaoyun had told him one by one, Bai Xiaoqian finally couldn't help but cover her mouth and sob silently. If it were just some basic information or something that could be investigated with some effort, Bai Xiaoqian wouldn't be so impolite. However, many of what Sumu said were secrets that only she and her mother knew. That is to say, only the mother and daughter in the whole world know about these things. And now, Sumu actually knows too. There is only one explanation. That is, his mother really gave him a dream. As soon as she thought of her mother, who was still there, even in this invisible way, Bai Xiaoqian could no longer control her emotions. Watching Bai Xiaoqian's tears fall with a patter, Sumu took out a pack of tissues from his pocket, tore them open, and handed them to her. So, is she really your mother? He said cautiously. Bai Xiaoqian wiped away her tears while nodding and choking, no mistake, it's my mother. But, why does my mother look for you, not me? Sumu didn't know how to answer Bai Xiaoqian's question. Because he has the same doubts. Why did Bai Xiaoyun contact her? I have nothing to do with her, shouldn't she contact Bai Xiaoqian? In the end, he found himself an explanation. I didn't aim, I missed the target. The saying goes, a tiny mistake leads to 1,000 miles. Not to mention not in the same dimensional world. At that time, this connection was likely aimed at Bai Xiaoqian. As a result, there may have been a slight shake, and then it shifted from Bai Xiaoqian in class 6 to him in class 3. Of course, Sumu is not sure if this is the case. Anyway, that's how he understood it. Before Sumu could speak, Bai Xiaoqian continued, Are you the son my mother secretly gave birth to outside without telling me? Sumu was taken aback, numb. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Another Walker. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Another Walker good guy. Can it still be unfolded like this? Upon hearing by Xiaoqian's suspect that she was the son secretly born by her mother outside, Sumu felt numb. Her brain circuit is really hard to guess. However, it is understandable. Although it was her mother, it sounded unreasonable to entrust the dream to someone else and need someone to convey it to her. And if she is the son secretly born by her mother outside, it is indeed reasonable. However, it's all just a dream, there's nothing reasonable or unreasonable. Definitely not. Sumu denied, although my parents were gone when I was very young, I have a grandfather who raised me on my own, so I must be our Su family's biological grandson. Are you sure? Bai Xiaoqian wiped her tears while looking pitifully at Sumu. Very certain, Sumu said. And besides, your mother said she only has you as a baby, so we definitely don't have any sibling or sibling relationship. It seemed that Sumu's words made sense, and she did think too much. Bai Xiaoqian wiped her tears again and calmed her emotions for a moment. By the way, is my mother okay? Okay, it's pretty good, Sumu nodded seriously and said, your mother asked me to convey this message to you. She asked me to tell you that she's very good there, so don't worry. I hope you're not on Earth right, in the mortal world. I hope you must also live well and bravely in the mortal world. You're the best and her eternal pride. Upon hearing this, Bai Xiaoqian, who had just stopped crying, wanted to cry again. Also, there's one more thing. Sumu looked around and made sure no one was eavesdropping nearby, then continued, your mother said that she used her savings to buy 3 100-gram gold bars. She was originally planning to keep them for your dowry, but she left too suddenly and didn't have time to tell you. Those 3 gold bars are hidden in her bedroom wardrobe. The position closest to the wall, at the bottom, has a hidden grid. You can use a flashlight to look for it, and it should be easy to find traces. With a small knife, lift the palm-sized wooden board along the gap, and the 3 100-gram gold bars are inside. In a blink of an eye, it was 8 p.m. Until then, Sumu finally came out of the library. The plan went smoothly, and Bai Xiaoqian completely believed in her mother's dream. Even, due to the relationship between her mother and him, Bai Xiaoqian and him became close to each other for an unknown amount. Moreover, in order for Sumu to convey her mother's situation, Bai Xiaoqian also told him a lot about herself. For example, she hasn't been in a relationship yet. Although many people have been chasing her since high school, she has never talked about it once. For example, the reason why she said she wouldn't fall in love in college is not because she doesn't want to fall in love in college, but because there are too many people chasing her. Even though she has spoken up and won't fall in love in college, she still faces the pursuit of many boys. If that's not the case, there are more boys pursuing her. Completely forced. For example, in high school, there was a very good best friend whose mother also knew that girl. However, the two of them had a falling out over something, and now neither of them is paying attention to each other. In short, they are all small setbacks or surprises encountered in life. And Sumu also acted as a very qualified listener, listening to Bai Xiaoqian's confession until now. Seeing that it was already 8 p.m., Sumu gave up the idea of returning to the classroom for evening self-study and instead strode out of school. The morning and evening self-study classes at Haicheng University of Finance and Economics are both voluntary, and it doesn't matter whether or not you attend them. 20 minutes later. In the rental room, Sumu walked in carrying a dumpling. I've been listening to Bai Xiaoqian's confession, but I haven't had dinner yet. Dumplings were placed on the coffee table in the living room. He first stuffed one into his mouth, then opened his phone and sent a message to Bai Xiaoyun. Sumu said, Aunt Bai, everything is going smoothly and we have taken care of it. Bai Xiaoyun quickly replied. Bai Xiaoyun said, Xiaoqian believes that I have given you a dream. Sumu said, well, I believe it. As soon as I told you the secrets that only the two of you know, she immediately believed them. Sumu said, moreover, I cried at that time, tears streaming down my face. I can tell that Xiao Qian misses you very much. Sumu said, she also told me a lot about her and asked me to pass it on to you. A conversation lasts for over half an hour. Sumu had just stuffed the last dumpling into his mouth when Bai Qiaoyun sent another message. Bai Qiaoyun said, Xiaosu, auntie, thank you so much. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have known Xiao Qian had gone through all of this. Thank you. Sumu smiled and replied, Aunt Bai, it's too polite of you to say that. This is what I should do. Don't worry, I will keep you updated on Xiao Qian's affairs on Earth in the future. Anyway, it's just a matter of sending a few messages casually, and it's not troublesome. Bai Qiaoyun said, okay, from now on, when Xiao Qian is on Earth, Auntie will ask you to take care of her. Also, Auntie, please go ahead and do something else. Sumu said, no problem, Bai Yi. Just go ahead and get busy. That's basically all I have on my end. After finishing the conversation with Bai Qiaoyun, Su Mugong threw the box containing dumplings into the trash can. Suddenly, the phone he placed on the coffee table shook twice again. Thinking it was a message from Bai Qiaoyun, Su Mu clicked on it and realized that it was actually a male trusted friend named Li Likuan. Li Likuan. Brother, are you from Earth? Looking at the message sent by Li Likuan, Su Mu was taken aback and felt that his brain was almost blank. Lying trough. This familiar opening statement, no way. Is there another traveler coming? This is called Li Likuan's way of appearance, as well as his way of greeting. It cannot be said that it is the same as Bai Qiaoyun, but that it is exactly the same. After being stunned for 3 or 4 seconds, Su Mu quickly replied. Su Mu. Brother, are you a traveler who crossed the earth? Without dragging around, go straight to the theme. Li Likuan. Li Likuan. I'll go, brother. It's amazing. How did you know that I was a traveler who crossed the earth? Gone. It's really amazing. Seeing Li Likuan admit his identity as a traveler, Su Mu was confused. What exactly is this situation? If there was only Bai Qiaoyun as a traveler, Su Mu could still explain it with coincidence. But now, is it also a coincidence that another traveler named Li Likuan has emerged? Just kidding. How could there be so many such coincidences? No, isn't it? Is the problem with myself? With a murmur, Su Mu's expression became shocked as if he had thought of something. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Summary of the Traverse. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Summary of the Traverse. In fact, when determining the identity of Bai Qiaoyun's interloper, Sumu had already considered this issue. That's why she contacted herself. The two of them do not know each other and have no blood relationship. She was clearly concerned about Bai Xiaoqian, but instead of contacting her, she contacted him. In the end, he attributed it to a mistake, a coincidence. And now, another traveler named Li Likuan has emerged. Sumu immediately realized the problem. Not right. It's definitely not a mistake or coincidence. If there is only Bai Qiaoyun as a passerby, mistakes and coincidences can be used to explain it. However, when encountering two interlopers in a row, it is impossible for them to be any mistakes or coincidences. So, is there such a possibility? The problem actually lies with him. It was he who acquired a special ability that allowed these travelers who crossed the earth to connect with him. If that's the case, it can explain why he was repeatedly contacted by the passers-by. Seeing Su Mu's delayed response, Li Likuan sent back 2 more messages. Li Likuan. Brother, why aren't you talking? Li Likuan said, come on, chat for a while. After so many years of leaving the earth, I want to die for our fellow humans on earth. Looking at the 2 messages sent by Li Likuan, Su Mu thought for a moment and replied. Okay, chat for a while. What world have you traveled to? Because of the precedent of Bai Qiaoyun, he will no longer naively think that the outside world is the same as the earth. Li Likuan. Oh, the world I have traveled through is similar to our earth. Li Likuan said, from entertainment, to technology, to gaming, to the country, to politics, everything is similar to our planet. Li Likuan. If I hadn't changed my body, I would have thought I was still on Earth. Li Likuan. Also, this planet is similar to Earth, but they call it the Big Blue Star. After reading it, Sumu immediately became happy. This guy. After finally crossing the road, it turned out to be like no crossing. Sumu smiled and replied, I'll go, brother. So your time traveling is quite boring. Li Likuan said, no, if it weren't for some movies, entertainment, celebrities, etc., all having some differences from our planet, I really thought I had never left the planet. Li Likuan. By the way, brother, is Avengers League 4 already released? Can you pass it on to me? I've been eagerly anticipating this movie for many years. Oh. Sumu seemed to have noticed something and immediately narrowed his eyes. He thought for a moment and replied, Are you a Marvel fan? Li Likuan. What Marvel fans? They are loyal fans, right? Li Likuan said, Avengers League 4 was the movie I was most looking forward to before I traveled. Damn it, before it was released, I stumbled and died while traveling. Li Likuan said, what's even more despicable is that there are no Marvel movies in my world. Mad, what's the fun of life in this garbage world? Do you think so? Looking at Li Likuan's reply, Sumu pondered for about 2 seconds and quickly took out a pen and paper to write a sentence. Point 1. All have unfulfilled wishes on Earth. When there was only Bai Qiaoyun himself before, Sumu couldn't make any summaries. And now, there is another traveler named Li Likuan, so he can compare and find commonalities. And the first thing he discovered in common was that both of them had unfulfilled wishes on Earth. Bai Qiaoyun is her daughter Bai Xiaoqian who is still on Earth, so there is no need to explain. And Li Likuan, who is a loyal Marvel fan, has always wanted to watch the movie Fu Lian 4. After finishing writing, Sumu replied, Brother, it's not convenient for me right now. I'll find it for you when it's convenient. Li Likuan said, Okay, brother, don't worry. I've been waiting for so many years, it's not short of a moment or two. Li Likuan. By the way, brother, is our Earth okay now? In a blink of an eye, it was already midnight. Until this moment, Sumu finally ended his conversation with Li Likuan. Li Likuan, a northerner, died from a mountain climbing accident because his family had been treating him poorly since childhood. Therefore, he had no emotional attachment to his parents on Earth. Even if they are dead or alive now, they have no interest in knowing. In his words, at the moment he died, he drew a clear line with that family and had no connection. Now, the only thing that he can care about on Earth is the Marvel series of the 4 movies. Moreover, through this 3-hour exchange, Sumu also found a second commonality. That is, like Bai Qiaoyun, he also seemed to have suddenly acquired some kind of superpower, and then, by some strange means, he contacted him. Moreover, there is also an opportunity for him to cross over and deliver physical items. That's right. Whether it's Bai Qiaoyun or Li Likuan, they can both give him cross-border gifts, but there is only one chance. Sumu had already known this from Bai Qiaoyun. After witnessing the power of gene enhancers, he suggested that Bai Qiaoyun give another bottle and let Bai Xiaoqian take it as well. In this way, she doesn't have to worry about Bai Xiaoqian being bullied. As a result, Bai Qiaoyun told him that she only had one chance to give something. Moreover, gene enhancers are not so easy to handle, and it was a coincidence that she managed to get a bottle. So, it's not that she doesn't want to get another bottle for Bai Xiaoqian, but even if she gets another bottle, she won't be able to bring it to Earth. Besides these commonalities, if we have to find another commonality, it is that neither of them died normally. Then, the following points can be summarized. Point 1. All have unfulfilled wishes on Earth. Point 2. It seems like they have suddenly acquired some kind of superpower. Point 3. There is always an opportunity to give him something. Point 4. All are abnormal deaths. Looking at the 4 points he summarized, Sumu finally focused his attention on the first point. We all have unfinished wishes on Earth. After thinking for a while, he muttered to himself, if their wish on Earth is fulfilled, will this cross-border connection be broken? The reason Sumu has this idea is also based on some horror movies he has watched before. In many of these movies, some fierce ghosts who refuse to be reincarnated are because there are still unresolved grievances. Just like Li Likuan and Bai Qiaoyun, they have both traveled through time but are still able to connect with Earth. Is it because they still have unfinished wishes on Earth? So, if their wishes are fulfilled, will they also disconnect from the Earth? Although this was just Sumu's guess, he felt that it would definitely be like this. And, is that so? It will be verified soon. Because Li Likuan's wish is easily fulfilled. However, it is precisely because his wishes are so fulfilled that Sumu cannot easily satisfy them. Nothing else. I haven't found any oil or water from him yet. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Leveraging the Wisdom of the Masses. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Leveraging the Wisdom of the Masses. Although Sumu is very helpful. However, it would be even better if one could earn some rewards while being helpful. Just like Bai Qiaoyun, he was given a bottle of gene enhancement potion as a reward. Although Li Likuan is located in a world similar to Earth, he cannot produce anything as good as a gene enhancer. However, the two worlds are ultimately different worlds. Different worlds naturally lead to differences in humanities, politics, entertainment, and other aspects. And these differences can all be utilized. However, the time he met Li Likuan was too short, and in a hurry, he couldn't come up with a specific plan. So, he needs to plan carefully. The next morning, Sumu woke up as usual, finished washing up, and then sent a few messages to Bai Xiaoqian. It is good to have a good excuse for daydreaming, but there are also inconvenient aspects. That is, if Bai Qiaoyun has anything he wants to convey to Bai Xiaoqian, he needs to stay overnight before he can tell her. Just a dream. Why not take a nap first? Sumu said, Xiaoqian, your mother came again yesterday. We talked a lot, and I told her everything you told me. Sumu said, Aunt Bai kept praising you and cried for a while. Sumu said, also, Aunt Bai asked me to tell you that you have already arrived at university. If you should start dating, you should start dating, but you must keep your eyes open. Sumu said, when looking for a boyfriend, it's not just about material possessions and appearance. For a man, what's important is a sense of responsibility and responsibility. Even if a man looks ugly or poor, as long as he is a responsible man, he is a good man. Sumu said, of course, it's not that you're looking for a poor and ugly person. Aunt Bai just wants to tell you this viewpoint. To find a responsible man. Sumu said, besides, Bai also said that the best friend you were having a fight with is not named Wu Jiaying. That girl started having a fight, and Bai already realized that she wasn't a serious girl. If it weren't for your good relationship at the time, she wouldn't have let you play together. Sumu said, there is also a girl named Li Yuyu. Aunt Bai asked you to have as little contact with her as possible. That girl's hands and feet are not clean. Sumu said, Aunt Bai said she was missing a necklace before. She remembered putting it in the jewelry box of the makeup cabinet, but she couldn't find it no matter how hard she tried. Sumu said, later one time, she went to visit Li Yuyu's house and found that necklace at her house. Because you were already in high school at that time, I was afraid it would affect your mentality, so I didn't tell you. Sumu said, alright, that's basically all. I'll go have breakfast. Finally, sending this message to Bai Xiaoqian, Sumu took a step and left the rental house. At the same time, In the girls' dormitory, Bai Xiaoqian, who had just finished washing her hair, looked at the messages sent by Sumu and a happy and sweet smile unconsciously appeared on her face. I'm really happy. Since being separated from her mother forever, she thought she would be alone from now on. However, Sumu's appearance last night suddenly brightened up her lonely life. Her mother is actually still alive. Although it was in a way that she couldn't see or touch, through Sumu's transmission, she could clearly feel that it was indeed from her mother's love and care for her. And being able to feel her mother's care and love again in this way is already enough for Bai Xiaoqian. Seeing Bai Xiaoqian happily holding her phone and giggling foolishly, a roommate approached with a gossipy expression. Xiaoqian, who sent you this message early in the morning? You're still laughing so happily. Shouldn't you be in love? What? Is Bai Xiaoqian in love? Upon hearing this, several other roommates in the dormitory also gathered around and immediately began to ask questions with various tongues. Who, Xiaoqian, are you in love with? Is it Huang Zhe, a finance major, who bought a box of high-end snacks for one person in our dormitory and drove a 911 sports car? Impossible, Xiaoqian clearly rejected him. It's Louis Hung from the business administration major. He's tall and handsome, and his family is wealthy. He's also the president of a taekwondo club, with a black belt. It's perfect. Go there, it's because you like Louis Hung. He must be the finance major with the surname Zhang. Seeing her roommates arguing frantically around her, as if she was really in love, Bai Xiaoqian was simply defeated. Stop, stop. Bai Xiaoqian quickly stopped her roommates and said in silence, who told you that I'm in love? I just saw a very interesting video. Is it true or false, laughing so sweetly, because of a very interesting video? Of course it's true, Bai Xiaoqian said. Alright, come on, hurry up and tidy up. You still have to go for breakfast, otherwise you'll be late for class. After sending away a few roommates, Bai Xiaoqian thought for a moment and finally returned 2 words and a picture to Sumu. Bai Xiaoqian. Thank you, sticking out your tongue and making a funny face. Soon, Sumu came back. Sumu. You're welcome, sticking out your tongue and making a funny face. Seeing this, Bai Xiaoqian let out a burst of laughter, almost unable to make a sound. Still about 10 minutes before class, Sumu walked into the classroom. As soon as he sat down, Wang Ruoro and Li Yaqing in the front row eagerly turned around. Hey, Sumu, you didn't go on a date with Bai Xiaoqian yesterday, did you? Why didn't you even come to the evening self-study? Yeah, you two wouldn't really go on a date, would you? Obviously, Sumu went to see Bai Xiaoqian last night and did not attend evening self-study, which has successfully sparked a gossip fire in their hearts. Looking at the appearance of Wang Ruoro and Li Yaqing at this moment, Sumu smiled mysteriously and said, Guess what? Guess what? Wang Ruoro said, You can speak confidently. Yeah, Li Yaqing agreed, just say it directly. No, of course not, Sumu said with a bitter smile. I felt a bit uncomfortable last night, so I went back early to rest and didn't come for evening self-study. That's it. Just as Wang Ruoro was about to continue speaking, Sumu directly changed the topic and said, By the way, I saw a very interesting question today. It's just right, I'll also ask you. Sure enough. The topic was successfully transferred. Li Yaqing said, What's the problem? It's like this, Sumu said. If you could freely enter and exit a civilized world similar to Earth, what would you do to make a fortune quietly? After a night, Sumu never came up with a good strategy to salvage oil and water from the world where Li Likuan is located. So, he came up with this solution. Use the wisdom of the masses. As the saying goes, 3 stinky cobblers make Zhuge Liang stand out. Perhaps Wang Ruoro and Li Yaqing will have different brain circuits. If it doesn't work, just post a post online and use the wisdom of the majority of netizens. End of this chapter.